North Armagh Motor Club's annual motoring picnic in Lurgan Park takes place thanks to the generosity of the Craigavon Borough Council and sponsorship from Burma Petroleum Fuels. 8 stages are crammed into 4.5 hours rallying on a day which has become one of the family occasions in motorsport. But it's hardly picnic weather, for the first time in the 11-year history of the event, it's wet, very wet. Particularly when, like Kenny McKinstry, you're doing your reconnaissance on a bicycle.
Kenny, it's a terrible way to have to prepare for a rally.
It surely is. The weather is definitely not good to us today.
But it might suit your new car, the 4-wheel drive Cosworth.
Yeah, the fact that it's 4-wheel drive, I mean, it really has to work very well in here. We're sort of looking forward to the whole thing.
You've won the rally 4 times in the past. You must know the park just about as well as anybody, and yet you're still out on the bicycle doing the recce.
Well, I mean, I have done, but I mean, even to take this section here, we've never ever done this before. It's all tarmac, 2 corners on it. But the park's the sort of place that, even for those 2 corners, to lose a second, you know, in one of those corners, you're obviously second place then, you know, so you really need to put the effort in.
As the lunchtime start approaches, there are furious efforts being made to try and adapt the cars, and particularly the tyres, to the conditions. Kenny is cutting a rallycross pattern to try and deal with the mud. For businessman Willie McKee, it's a red letter day, as he is sitting with one of the all-time greats. Well, Willie McKee, of course, this is the second time you've started at number 1 in the Burma Rally.
Yeah, we had a run round last year with Leo Shaw, which was a great experience. Unfortunately, the weather's not as good this year as it was last year, but I'm sure this man can find his way around okay.
Well, tell me, Willie, who is this man beside you?
McRae, I think the name is, yes. James McRae, and I think I'm very lucky to have a seat with this man here today.
Well, he's speaking very highly of you too, Willie. Jimmy, how's things?
All right, yeah, we're obviously much prefer dry weather. I've been told that this is the first time in 10 years it has rained, so it's maybe something to do with me being here, I don't know.
It's got really muddy out there. There's an awful lot of standing water, and I think it's a day to survive here and concentrate in the Ulster.
Now, moving over to Ellen, what about these trees, eh?
I think some of them are bolted to Australia. They're very big trees and very close to the track. I think it's a place to treat with a bit of respect.
We thoroughly enjoy this event every year. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it last year because of engine problems, but it's a bit wet this year. Suit us pretty good.
Frank's co-driver is the Donegal winner. Dermot O'Gorman, looking at the glories of last weekend, can you do it again this weekend?
We'll have a good try at it anyhow. The conditions will suit Kenny McKinstry in the 4-wheel drive Cosworth, but it won't be for the want of trying anyhow.
Back from their recce come Andrew Nesbitt and Brian Murphy, who will be carrying one of our cameras this weekend.
We got the loan of special rallycross tyres for the event from a friend, Joe Rooney, and it's lowered the gearing of the car, so hopefully we'll be able to use a gear higher every time, so we'll be able to start off in second as opposed to first, to try and stop the car spinning. It'll be interesting.
But what about taking the camera car for the first time?
Well, I sat into the car for the first there a moment ago, and I pretended it wasn't there. I don't know whether it's going to be lucky or not, but we'll give it a try. I'll pretend it's not there for the moment.
I've been here now, I think this is probably about the 8th or 9th year I've come to this place. But this is a very different Lurgan Park today. We've never had it wet. It's been going about 11 years now, and I think this is the first day ever it's rained here. So it's a different ball game, it's a different park.
Now, to change the subject slightly, last weekend you were competing in Donegal and you were collecting for cystic fibrosis, and I believe you got a tremendous response.
Yes, we did the Donegal International Rally just for cystic fibrosis. We had a fairly good run ourselves. Obviously we had to finish the event. We were paid by the mile in most cases, and miles made money at the end of the day.
How much did you collect?
We collected, it's still coming in fact, we have about 5,500 at the moment.
Get on the ramp tonight. Cheers.
And so the Burma action begins. You don't win 5 British Rally Championships by going daft in these conditions. Jimmy McRae is quite content to play things in gently in the business and scientific services-backed Sapphire. Four, 3, 2, 1, go! Kenny McKinstry McKinstry and Robbie Philpott in the Calibre Cosworth have a distinct advantage, four-wheel drive. But as you'll see, as they take us right through the first stage, that doesn't make things easy. From now to the finish, it's flat out on tarmac, highly treacherous at this speed. "90 miles an hour is no problem along here." Two minutes, 38 seconds. 3 seconds quicker than anyone else will manage. Kenny's chance for a fifth Lurgan victory looking good. Behind Kenny, there are some big surprises. Number 51, Eamonn McAleenan and John Murphy in their home-built special, a Toyota Starlet shell with a Nissan engine, are second fastest. And an even greater surprise, as novice Andy McGee is a sensational third fastest in his 2-litre Escort. Derek, the rallying member of the famous McGarrity motorsport family, is fifth in the Opel Ascona 400, which has brought him wins in the Northern Ireland Rally Championship. Guiding Derek Boyd is his daughter Roisin in their four-wheel drive Mazda. They're in a very useful 6th place. Derek and Roisin are one of 2 father and daughter combinations in the rally. Paul Muldrew is another young driver with style. He and Rodney Robb tie with the Boyds for 6th place. But where are all the big boys and girls? James Cullen and Ellen Morgan start in spirited style, but ahead is a left-hander that's about to cause havoc amongst the top runners. Cullen's gone, but now Hugh O'Brien and Stephen Kirkpatrick arrive to perform their high-speed pirouette as Cullen is leaving the scene. Next up is Frank Maher and Dermot O'Gorman. Can Frank's experience get him through the left-hander? Fingertip control from the Tipperary man. Inside the Philip White Tires Manta 400, Andrew Nesbitt and Andrew Murphy start their Burma rally. outside, we see the accident again. Lurgan Park is about to be re-landscaped. The strong Mantis survives, but after an accident like that, it's hard to settle again. Andrew is uptight and disorientated. It's right, not left at the hairpin. Another bump at the chicane. Number 6 is having a rough ride. The time of 3:09 means any hope of victory has gone on the very first stage. Roy Alcorn is a Lurgan Park expert, and by now many have seen the front boys' problems, but Roy will spin later in the stage. Ken Colbert is too experienced to get caught out here, but it's a close run thing. Stephen Emerson is a newcomer to Manta Power, and as always it's 110% effort. The bushes beckon like a red rag to a bull. By the end of the stage, the Knox brothers have overtaken the recovering Emerson. Roy Hazlitt is always an entertainer. His sideways style, though, is even more pronounced than usual due to a faulty tyre pressure gauge.
Stage 2 is a repeat of Stage 1, and Kenny would seem to be unbeatable in the Jeff Jewett four-wheel drive Sapphire.
Turn in 90 left.
Things couldn't be going better in the Caliber car. The four-wheel drive system is giving them an enormous advantage in the conditions.
90 left. And turn in first left. Turn 6 right.
Now it's right before the bridge and onto the new section. It's dead! The motor's dead!
They're trying to get the car.
1.5 stages and the favourite it out. It's a bitter disappointment for McKinstry and Philpott.
Seems like the fuel pump has switched itself off somewhere, or broken wire, or I don't know. Well, one of these things could be anything, you know, from the computer to map sensor or anything.
Well, that's it now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, if you lose 10 seconds, it's it anyway, so. That's the end of Lurgan Park for another year.
Oh, look, mate.
Eamonn McAleenan is about to inherit the lead, but nearly came a cropper there. The skillful engineer and driver now has a 4-second advantage over another big surprise, David Greer, in second place in his special engine Toyota. Andy McGee is another name from the Forest Championship, and he's nobly holding on in third. Derek McGarrity's Ascona was a works car some years ago. It might even have been driven by Jimmy McRae. And talking of McRae, the master is beginning to move. He's up to 5th. With 2 stages down, we catch up with the new Burma hero.
I can't believe it myself. Went out this morning on the first stage and just done everything. Went careful and we finished up 2nd fastest, and we're fastest on that last stage, so we seem to be going pretty well. I didn't think I would have been going as quick, but the conditions must just suit the car.
David, you're really creating one of the sensations of this rally, and I believe it's something to do with this extraordinary power plant that you have.
Well, it must be.
What is it you got?
It's just basically it's a Formula 3, Tom's Formula 3 engine fit in the back of the drive Corolla.
That's pretty unusual.
Well, it's unusual, but it's a Toyota engine, Toyota car, so it's not that bad.
Now tell me, you know, you possibly don't look the most spectacular out there, but it's obviously getting the right result.
I think that's probably why, you know, it's we're staying in the middle of the road and keeping out of the grass. I think that's where we put the time up.
Andy, to say that the first 2 stages have created surprises is an underestimation. There you are, right up in 3rd place. Are you surprised?
You better believe it. I didn't expect to be even anywhere near the class the other day, never mind overall.
Tell me, what events have you done before?
The Air Singleton Championship, just a few wee quarries and sprints.
So this is the big time,
This is it.
How do you think you can hold on to this?
Hope for rain, that's all we can hope for.
It's drying up a bit now.
It dries up now, the big cars will have an advantage on us in the tarmac, like, but hopefully it'll rain.
Stage 3 goes in the opposite direction, and Andrew Nesbitt and Brian Murphy, lying way back in 23rd position, have a lot of leeway to make up. And this little excursion won't have helped their cause. We can now see the battle scars on the Manta. Ahead is the tricky left-hander over the bridge, and that chicane that gave problems before. Here we see the tricky chicane from outside the car. The bail has been weakened just as well. Out front, it's still McAleenan. Eamonn, in a strong drive, has been 2nd fastest on stage 1, fastest on stage 2, and he's defending his slender lead with some style. As Derek Boyd passes, we find the Knox brothers stranded. Their escort has come to a halt after the chicane. The water splash has drowned the electrics, and the escort that the Lurgan brothers have hired from Kenny McKinstry for the day isn't going to go any further. David Greer is snapping on McAleenan's heels, just 1 second behind. But we've lost another leader. Eamonn McAleenan is now stranded by the side of the stage as the new leader goes past.
Eamonn, you're probably watching Davy Greer go into the lead there. What happened to you?
Yes, I've let my own mate slip away with it. thought I'd turn on a bit of power there when conditions started drying out, and the differential just broke on it. That's a problem with that type of axle, which the crown wheel and pinion has to be renewed fairly regular, and I haven't renewed that, so that's
First time you really led a big one, and now the disappointment.
That's right, yes, but hopefully it'll be another day.
So McAleenan's short moments of glory are sadly over as Kenneth McCall flashes through. But now, there's a considerable new threat looming. Here's the real danger man, Kenny Colbert with Noel Dixon alongside him. After losing time on stage 1, spinning to avoid a tree on this stage, Ken has still managed to climb from 12th to 3rd. Watch out up front, because the Dungannon driver is making a real bid for the £1,000 first prize. Andy McGee may have been demoted to 4th, but the Ballymena driver is undoubtedly the find of this event. McRae's aggression is now obvious. Even our cameraman retreats. Is also on the move, up from 6th to 5th in the RS 1800, which will rally the following day at the opposite end of the country. Mervyn Hill, the Northern Ireland Stage Rally Championship leader, is 7th overall. But Derek Boyd has a misfire, and he's slipping back in the top 10. Dominic McLaughlin from Sligo has his Sunbeam TI as high as 9th. And Willie Singleton in his beautifully prepared Escort G3 is also among the top 10 fastest. There's some grip on the track, but none on the grass, as Dominic McNeil discovers. Despite this misadventure, he also commands a place in the top 10.
Stage 4, and watch that old McRae magic in these two hairpins as he guides the BSS Sapphire round with the aid of the handbrake. Derek McGarrity now ties with David Greer at the top of the Burma bulletins. You don't get much finer judgment than this. As Willie Singleton heads towards the finish of stage 4, David Greer and Brian Crawford arrive at this section. Greer's ingenuity in fitting a Formula 3 engine in his rally car is reaping the rewards, helped undoubtedly by the driving talent of the Carryduff man. Mervyn Hill makes a rare mistake here. Fortunately, neither the 3 nor the Escort are the worse for their experience, so Mervyn retains his 6th place, and Andy McGee is enjoying his first big day in the sport. After all, he's 3 seconds ahead of Jimmy McRae. But the blight amongst the early leaders continues, and sadly that's Andy's Escort that the North Armagh Marshals are pushing away into retirement. Armfuls of opposite lock from Alcorn as he passes McGee's stricken Escort. It's a sad end to an outstanding drive. What's wrong?
Ball joint out of the track control arm in the bottom of her, straight on there. The wheel just come back in there.
You're doing a pretty high speed there.
Say so, aye.
Bit frightening.
Aye, it was a moment, wouldn't I? So we had a bit of a moment. That's the rally over for the day.
By the end of stage 5, Derek McGarrity is in the lead, but only by 1 second. It could have been more, but for this. Ken Colbert's remorseless progress up the leaderboard continues. The Nissan engine Peugeot is now 2nd and setting a string of fastest times along the way. Sadly, Greer's glory is nearly over. That special Tom's Formula 3 engine has developed a misfire, but the Corolla has already dropped to 3rd. It won't last much longer. Jimmy McRae is now in storming form. With the roads drying out, he's doing wonders with the Group N Sapphire. It's looking as if the car that took Kenny to victory in Donegal will do the same for Jimmy and Lurgan. smiling Stephen Emerson is at it again. In between these little misdemeanors, Stephen and Chris Patterson are putting up good times. But undoubtedly the entertainer of the event, although rather too wild to be in the results, is Roy Hazlitt.
Stage 6, and Andrew Nesbitt has a chance to prove just what an outstanding new talent he is. With the dry roads, the Manta can now use its full power, and after their early troubles, there's a thing or two to prove. Off the tarmac now, onto the loose. In places, the ground is cutting up badly. Straight lies ahead, and right up into 5th gear and well over 100 miles an hour. This time through the stage, they will be 3 seconds quicker than their previous run. Now that's more like it. Ken Colbert at last hits the front, but James Cullen and Ellen Morgan are a long way from it, as James leaves bits of the Brooklyn Sierra scattered around the park throughout the afternoon. The seconds have evaporated. Still, it's enjoyable to watch. Frank Maher, on the other hand, has kept it all together, and he's up to 4th. And stage 6 is one of Stephen Emerson's good ones. He's second fastest, beaten only by Colbert. A cracked manifold adds to Boyd's problems, but there's £300 for the first unleaded car home. Carol Rogers is up to 7th. The Donegal hero is still in fine form. And Paul Burnett and Roy Gibson have moved their RS 1800 up to 8th and are enjoying the drying conditions. Here's a giant killer, Seamus Carey, who will take his Nova to 8th overall and an easy class win.
Sunshine at last, and a short break before the final showdown.
So what's the plan now for the last 2 stages?
Try and keep it safe. Try and make Derek do the work from behind. We're only 2 seconds in front, so I mean obviously a slip anywhere can make a change.
2 stages to go, 2 seconds behind the leader. What's the plan?
Maximum attack, the only way, as hard as we can go. It's been touch and go all day, a couple of wee mistakes in the last stage, a couple of time before. Just try, hope not to make any mistakes.
No mistakes is what's required, and that's what's supplied by Ken Colbert and more. An all-out effort by the Peugeot driver virtually decides the rally on this stage, as the Dungannon pair take 4 seconds out of the pursuers. Maximum attack, he promised, and he gave it all that, but to no avail. Derek and co-driver Alan Beattie must now start the last stage, trailing the leader by 6 seconds. Jimmy McRae's lead in Group N is secure. But his third place isn't. The Scotsman will have to hurry to stay ahead of Frank Maher. Now this is where Paul Burnett loses some of his time, as he drops from 8th to 14th. Paul Muldrew, despite one time-consuming off into a fence, has recovered well to finish an excellent 6th. David Palmby's big Rover was never going to be competitive in these conditions. That doesn't mean it can't be entertaining. Whereas Ken Graham not only wins his class, he's also 10th overall. And then, the Happy Manta Men. No prizes for Stephen Emerson or Andrew Nesbitt on this occasion, but lots of fun. Plenty to keep the huge crowds who turned up at the Craigavon Borough Council venue amused, despite the weather.
Ken Colbert has now made his point and he drives the last stage to maintain his advantage. In fact, he slightly increases it to 7 seconds. Derek McGarrity again shows the extraordinary versatility of this highly talented family in any form of motorsport. And Jimmy McRae is just Jimmy. Brilliant. For Frank Maher, the long trip from Tipperary was well worth it. He will go home with 4th place on an extraordinary day that brought forward many new names, the most successful in the final analysis being Mervyn Hill in 5th place. So the spoilerless Business and Scientific Services Sapphire rolls onto the finish ramp. How had Jimmy McRae enjoyed his first visit to the Burma Rally?
Well, this morning when it was so wet and slippy and raining, I mean the heavens opened, I didn't think enough a lot about the park, but I must say once the sun came through and it dried out, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very good, very, very tricky.
Then it's Derek McGarrity. What odds would you have given him for 2nd place 4.5 hours ago?
Derek, very, very close at the end.
Just too big a gap for me, I couldn't close it, so maybe again, maybe next year.
Disappointed?
Oh well, you know, I enjoy myself. I didn't expect to finish 2nd here today, you know, but I think from word go we were there and Kenny was there and, you know, guys dropped out, but I don't really think it made a big pile of difference. You know, Eamonn McAleenan obviously and Kenny McKinstry, but happy enough with finishing.
Little whisper around about a corner cutting incident by the winner.
Yeah, but he didn't gain 7 seconds from it.
So he's a fair and square winner.
He won it fair and square. He beat me, he was quicker than me on the last lot of stages, nothing I could do about it.
At his 9th attempt, Kenny Colbert is the winner of the Burma Rally in £1,000 and in the most difficult conditions in the history of the event.
The conditions this morning really were atrocious, weren't they?
Diabolical. I've never driven in worse conditions. And as Eric will vouch, we spun this morning the first stage at about 5 miles an hour. And the Mullah could try better.
So a new name joins the Burma Roll of Honour. In fact, 1990 was the year of the new names, and that's got to be healthy.